Oh, there's Scott.
Okay, let's get the show on the road. Everybody's online. Can you hear us okay? All right.
5
All right. And you can mute your speaker after that unless you want to make a comment. For those of you that don't remember me,
Who are you?
it's been a while. Yeah, oh, I'm sure. Thank you for that, Javon. I didn't hear a chorus of, yeah, you know.
She lies.
Yeah.
That's one thing I don't do.
Well, so time flies, doesn't it? It's getting on to the end of the year. We've got this meeting and then we got the next one, and that's it for this year. So so far, I haven't gotten anyone demanding to run for one of the officers' spots. That you know, we'll know to start earlier next year. But you know, the same with all the rest. Everybody has agreed to serve, but we really would like to have people, you know, be engaged, and so I encourage everybody to let that be known, and we will find a spot. Believe me, not a problem. Well, let's see. Before we get on to who's been diving, we have a visitor tonight, and I warned her that I was going to ask her to say hello and give us her name. She's not an underwater shooter, so it's fresh meat we can work on. So, please, I believe it's guest of Cheryl, right?
One of my neighbors in Del Webb, we just seem to flock together, and Celia can still go snorkel and stuff. And love diving, and I've been sending her the newsletter, so she can help that.
Snorkeling. You know, I didn't realize snorkeling is becoming a pretty big thing now, actually. I didn't, I mean, it's always been a thing, but as far as, you know, we were way out in the middle of nowhere, and they had significant numbers of people in Alor coming there to snorkel. Yeah, and so we were curious. It's like, my God, why you come out to the middle of Indonesia and, you know, for snorkeling, why don't you dive? And then it turns out many of them have some kind of health problem that prevents them from diving. Some of them were divers, couldn't, you know, do it because of ears or something, and just love it so much so I was really surprised that that resort had quite a business of dealing with snorkelers. So that's very good. Well, very good. I may be with you. Okay, well, so who's been diving? Yeah, where you guys been? Oh, Bonaire. Okay, yeah. Right. I heard Bonaire was okay.
It was, Kathleen and I both agreed before we went that we just wanted to read. And I don't know if it was because we had beginners on the boat, because they had 2 or 3 beginners, but they took us to places fairly close to shore, very calm, no current, and we were happy as little clams to float along and look at stuff.
Are you saying the Philippines wasn't a relaxing trip? Yeah. I do remember. Yeah, you guys left us. You guys left us so that
Indonesia.
No, the Philippines, you guys got swept away so that a tiger shark could try to eat us. That's what happened there.
That was Pearl.
Martin almost got
We got great film of him though.
That was Pearl. That's what counts.
That's
Variety of coral that they had in both. It was really a lot of.
back about 50%. It was pretty dead. Like about 50% on that.
Okay.
You're still having some trouble with hard coral. We do well with stag coral.
Stag coral was amazing.
Yeah.
Really?
And they had some
You
old.
can't hear without a microphone.
Oh, sorry. We should pass the microphone around. They say they're done. They said they like the coral.
Thanks for letting us on, guys.
Yeah, sorry about that. Oh, yes. I had my back turned. Who's been diving? Oh, Lynn. Okay. Tell us about it.
Where'd you go?
Well, I see that Scott's in the audience. I went where Scott was, and Eileen, I don't know if Eileen is there, but we were in the Philippines for 10 days on a liveaboard
Oh, cool.
through the Visayas, and we saw this fantastic thresher shark, about 22 of them.
It sounds familiar. Our group was there in July, so we had
It's
a
pretty cool they moved to that new shoal because it's a lot easier to access.
Well, I'm confused about that now because we ran into where did we were talking about this. Oh yeah, we were over at Ann's shop, Oceanic Ventures, just Saturday. And some people had just been there and they said, oh no, we went to Monad Shoal. And I went, well, I thought they moved away from there. Anyway, either I was confused or they were confused, or maybe the threshers.
Maybe they're at both. Maybe just some have moved over to this other shoal. I don't know. But
Yeah,
this is
maybe so. Yeah. We went to Monad and there was nothing there but a giant tiger shark that looked like he wanted to eat us. And
well, that's why these guys left, because the tiger sharks were moving into their territory. At least that's what the Filipina guide said.
because the place we went was some other shoal. It was near Monad, but it wasn't the same. It was like Kimud, Kimud, I think it was. And it was shallow. Probably that's where you guys were, I'm guessing. Pretty shallow, 40 feet maybe, or
Yes.
something like.
Pretty
Yeah.
easy access, pretty easy dive. But it was
Yeah.
funny, while we were down and just calm and waiting, I don't know, I didn't count, but maybe 20 boats of snorkelers and fast divers went through. They just zipped through, went back on their boat and left, zipped through, and we were just there the whole time watching. It's pretty interesting. But they
Yeah,
don't
so-
use flash.
Right.
So I will add to that, Lynn. Yes, so by the way, so Lynn and I now are like blood brothers here in the photography realm. We like bounced stuff off of each other and like bothered each other and tapped each other on the shoulder and oh yeah, look over there. Yeah. So I really appreciated your presence there, Lynn. And yes, by the way, yes, it was that other shoal.
Kimud.
Yeah, I mean, I get the names mixed up, but yes, and I'm telling you, the threshers were like thick as, I mean, they were all over the place. Everybody got tons of really good pictures. So it was great.
Yeah. So now it's not special to see thresher sharks anymore. Everybody's been there and done that. So okay. Yes, ma'am.
So we.
Oh, it's my microphone.
Oh, we just spent a month in Indonesia. We spent 2 weeks at Alami Alor, and then we spent 2 weeks on Bali at Tulamben. And we had been to Alor before, so we knew what to expect, and it was the usual great diving and, just
Some cold water.
there was quite a bit of cold water, and then there was warm water. You just never knew what you were going to get. So I was wearing my heated vest for sure. And it was getting down to like 26 and 27 C, and which is freaking cold for me. So, but then we went to Tulamben on the north shore of Bali, and we stayed at Villa Marquesa. What a wonderful place to stay. Beautiful. Used to be a house, then they turned it into a big manor house. They turned it into a resort and built bungalows and so forth. And it's just a terrific place to dive because there are like nudibranchs everywhere, and they're unusual ones, teeny tiny ones that I have never seen before. It was kind of a challenge to film them, but it was a lot of fun to do that. Yeah, so anyway, I would love to go back there with a group. People would, I think, love that spot. It was one of my favorites.
Very good.
So Sue and I did a 3-week trip to Japan, and we did like, I don't know, maybe 10 days of that in Okinawa. And we spent 5 or 6 days on a little island next to the main island called Tokashiki. So it's a ferry ride away from the main Okinawa island. And we did 4 days of diving. I guess I did 10 dives, and really nice hard corals. A lot of endemic species of angelfish and wrasse and butterfly fish that I've never seen before. So that was very nice. But it was a good time. It was a little warm. They were having some bleaching going on. I think the water temperature was 85, and at that time of year, it should have been about 81. So I'm hoping that cools down before there's a major problem.
Really? Oh. Okay. Well,
So I will add some other details on the Philippine trip, and that's you're talking about nudies there. So, and of course I know this young lady right here is like Miss Nudie Queen, you know, and but me, I'm a nudie neophyte. Okay, so when we went there and we saw the variety of nudies that were there, for one, I can tell you, I was thrilled. I was totally thrilled. I was there. It's like with my macro lens, I'm like, and Lynn will even verify if there's a nudie there, the rest of the group just kind of keeps on wandering, and Scott's back there. He's hanging with the nudie. He doesn't leave the nudie. He makes sure he has the perfect shot, and then everyone else is completely gone. So,
I was gonna say.
I know. It's like that's why Dennis and I would get along perfectly well together. So that's my comment on nudies in the Philippines.
I might add that we did have a sign that was written on the first day for our particular dinghy, and the man in the dinghy wrote, "Where is Scott?" And that sign came out multiple times per day. Where is Scott? Because, sometimes the viz was a little low. Sometimes we didn't know where Scott was, and we would ask Eileen, and Eileen said, "Don't ask me."
So that particular guy, that was Martin, and he was new at side mounting, and so he just coming off the class, is like, okay, well, everybody's you're all a team, and all that, and then I disappear. It's like, where's Scott? This isn't like I was taught. Uh-oh.
Don't let them shame you, Scott. It's normal.
Yeah.
Some of our dives at Tulamben, we literally went to one spot and we didn't move 5 meters the entire dive. That's how much stuff there was.
I think we've learned there are two types of divers. Those that don't move, and that would be me, and those that want to zip and see as much as possible. And that's probably more divers, so I think that maybe trips should be tailored that match up the people who want to stay in one spot and the people who want to move as fast as possible through as much as possible.
Yeah, I won't say there's any Machiavellian stuff going on, but when I picked the groups to go with the dive guide, I kind of took that into account. But most of this group moves pretty slowly, so it's, yeah. Now, just another word, this Villa Marquise has been there for almost 20 years. We're not pitching it or anything like that. It's just a very interesting place. The woman, it's mostly Germans if you go there. So a lot of Europeans, there's very few Americans, and the people that own it are German, and really wonderful spot. They have a little museum in what used to be their main house of old dive gear. And, so for example, I'm going, oh, I have one of those, that little glass case, and the woman that there's two owners, but the woman told us that she had found over 800 different species of nudibranchs just right offshore where their place is. 800. So she's been there for a while, and so let's move on. What about club business, Frank? Do you have anything? I haven't seen you for a while, so yeah, give him the mic.
The main announcement we have is we do have some underwater books back there. Basically, we're cleaning out our library. Anyone that wants anything, please just take it off the table. I don't want to have to carry it out. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I think that we should help him there, you know, even if you don't want it. I'm on board with his thing. Don't make him take it back home. So do your part and, you know.
I think they'd make great.
Now we're talking. Excellent. Okay. What other announcements? Are we done with workshops for the year, David, or I wasn't here for the fish ID workshop. Did you, you zoomed in? Went okay? Yeah, all right. There is next meeting. Yes, the one in December. And Mary is not here tonight. Oh, she's on. Oh, okay. Any words of wisdom on that, Mary? What do you need people to do?
Just the usual. There's usually a very good balance of everything we need. Just bringing, Henry will be bringing the meat as usual, and we'll have the raffle.
And people
have
just
it
bring
ready.
what they want. People just bring what they want. If you like desserts, bring a dessert. If you like side dishes,
Yeah.
we're gonna
Not
eat
too-
it. Sorry.
First of December.
First, is it
And
December?
we'll bring the sodas also, sodas and water.
I think it's the 4th. It's the first Monday in December.
Second, I think it's the second or third.
Whatever it is. It's first Monday.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take your word for it. That's fine. Second.
Let me
Okay,
see.
good. So, right. And of course, tonight we'll be sneaking off to go to La Tapatia. Whoever wants to go, we'll arrange that. And other than that, well, Dennis isn't here. I think he's off gallivanting around in the rainforest in Brazil or something like that. Yeah. Do we vote now or do we vote in December? I thought we did it in December. Yeah.
December is just a party.
Is that-
Remember the year.
Okay, so we should. Okay. Our parliamentarian says we vote. Okay. We have, like I said to begin this, nobody has stepped up to run, and you know, I don't have the power to, you know, put Betsy into my place. So, or I might. Short life expectancy. So your current set of officers is, you know, agreeing to run, and I guess the easy way to do this is just say, are there any objections to that? Anybody that wants to vote for somebody else? We'll take a write-in here or whatever.
That officer was probably willing to step down.
Absolutely. All right. And I'm going to declare it's a done deal. We officially voted. Let's check the online people. Anybody screaming in there? Oh, it's okay. All right, good.
Hey,
Wow.
John, you want to run for president?
He won't even come to the meetings. He told me he was going to.
Meeting by Zoom though.
Okay, that was easy to do. Okay, so now, anything else? Oh, one other thing, our favorite thing. I've been gone for 2 months and I haven't been able to see what you guys have been doing in the way of gadget of the month. And since I haven't been around to nag anyone about it, I assume nobody would come with a gadget. Anybody got something they want to throw out there? Well, I just happened to. I found something. What do you guys, when you get on a long trip and everything's getting really salted and crudded up and everything with your plants, what do you use? How do you take care of that? How do you clean them? Anybody got a particular thing they do, like a steel brush or any? Yeah. Well, I found by accident, guess what? WD-40 works pretty well on that kind of stuff. The only problem with WD-40, if you read my column in the newsletter, you know, you start spraying that stuff around. It's not the best thing to be spraying around in a camera room because it can drift. And so anyway, I did get some on this trip because being gone a month, even though you dunk your thing every day and all that, you'll get a lot of salt buildup in places. So I was doing that and I got home and I said, well, I need a little travel size because I can't carry these cans on the plane. Turns out WD-40 has a pencil applier application. Yeah. And so you just pop this off. And so it's got one of these kind of fiber tips or whatever, and you just touch where you want it to go. If you want it to flow on there, you hold it down, which I'm not going to do at the moment. And you can pack this in your Save a Dive kit. So I think it's, yeah, real handy.
Available at Home Depot?
I don't know. I order everything off Amazon. Amazon has it. So, okay. That's great. Now we have our program.
Can I say something? This is Marty.
Please.
I wanted two things that I learned about WD-40. One is the reason why it was called 40 was the 40th group of molecules that they actually came upon, and so I said why they named it 40. And the other thing is that they never patented it because they didn't want it. If it got patented, eventually someone would realize outside the country what was in it, and so they decided not to patent it.
I don't know what it is. I mean, before WD-40, they had all sorts of things, you know, that were made by the oil companies. Like I remember Shell had penetrating oil and stuff like that. You could buy at a gas station. The same kind of stuff, a very lightweight. It's some kind of petroleum product, I think. But yeah, WD-40 is not actually a lubricant. It's not meant to be yeah, it's a cleaner. Yeah, so that people miss that all the time. It will act as a lubrication, but as far as long term, like you don't want to lubricate your bearings or something with WD-40.
Use electrical fixtures to light you because it's not a track test.
Okay.
Use dry flow a lot too. $12 for 3 of those.
It's a 3-pack. Yes, sir. I got it.
$12.
Yep, $12 for 3 of them. Probably last you a lifetime. I like the spray, especially on clamps. It's really great. You just take them off and you can put them on a paper towel or something, and the foaming action really works to spread it around. But like I said, you don't really want to. Number one is I found it's really hard to get some of that stuff in the middle of Indonesia, you know. They did find some eventually, but yeah, it's not easy. And you know, number two, again, spraying it around a room where people have lenses and stuff exposed is not a good idea. Okay. Well, we have a great presentation tonight, I'm sure. I haven't seen it, but the speaker is well known to all of us. Unfortunately, Dennis isn't here and I don't have his notes, but you know, we all know David, and he's going to talk to us about things in the night, I believe. And AI songs. Yeah, okay.
Okay, well, thanks for coming out. I like night diving. A lot of people at the resorts, you know, they'll do the day dives and that's it. Hit the bar at sunset. It's easy for me because I don't drink alcohol, so I never hit the bar at sunset because I have a night dive plan typically. So I'm going to do a couple things tonight. We'll have about a 3 or 4 minute slideshow of images captured on night dives. Then I have a little PowerPoint I'll go through. And then we're going to talk about Suno. It's a website where you can create music via AI. And so we're going to go through a little demonstration of that. So first, we're going to do the slideshow if Martin can get this figured out.
Dark water flows around. No other sight or sound. Lights searching all the ground. Mystery creatures found. Underwater glow. In this dreams guide our flight through the darkest night. Creatures come inside under ghostly light. Underwater glow, moonbeams start to show. Camera lights they shine in this deep divide.
Maybe. Yes. Okay, Zoomers, can y'all see it? Someone say yes, because we can't see you
Got
right
it.
now. Okay, great.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So a lot of times when you tell people you're going night diving, especially non-divers, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So especially when you talk to non-divers, you tell them you're going night diving, they're always like, why? I know my dad always says, what in the heck are you thinking? Oh, y'all can't hear me is the problem. Okay. I'll turn this way to maybe everybody can hear me better. So, my number one reason for night diving is it's exciting. I've done a lot of dives like many of you, but when you're going into the water, that deep, dark, black water, it's a little bit extra added excitement to that dive. And that's a big part of it. But the main reason is I like it, that some creatures really only work the night shift. You get a lot of types of crustaceans or cephalopods, your live shells, all these other things on the screen here. Many of these things only come out at night. You may see them during the day sometimes, but frequently they're hidden in a crevasse or buried in the sand or something like that. So at night is when a lot of these things become more active. And of course, blackwater diving, you can only really do that at night as well. So, your cephalopods, again, you may see an octopus. Dive master will show you one it's hiding in a hole or something in the reef. Not too exciting, but nighttime is when they really come out. And squid, same thing. You'll see them during the day. I personally have never really gotten any good photos up close to squids during the day, but at night I've gotten quite a few. And there are some cephalopod species like these bobtail squid that basically I think only come out at night. They pretty much spend their time buried in the sand. And then also at night is when you'll see the octopus out on the reef hunting, jumping from coral head to coral head, expanding out like a big umbrella, looking for a crab or a fish to eat. And then, you got your crustaceans. There's so many different species of crustaceans, of which most of you do not see during the daytime. Like in the top left is a box crab. And you got your slipper lobster, Spanish lobster on the lower left. And so many of these things are, hiding from you during the daytime. For some reason, it's not going to the next slide. Okay, here we go. I'll use the mouse. For example, the big coral crab in the Caribbean, you may see these during the day buried up in a hole somewhere, but at night is when they come out and wander around feeding. And if you've never seen one of these guys, they're really, really big and really impressive to see. A lot of species of corals are closed during the day and only fully open up at night to reveal all their beauty. For example, this is a star coral during the day, closed up, but at night they open up and, in my opinion, become a lot more interesting to see and photograph. Live shells. There are tens of thousands of these guys out there, and most of them are buried in the sand during the day or buried in a hole somewhere, and you will not see them. There's just a huge variety of all shapes and sizes. And to really see them, you gotta wait for the dark when they crawl out of the sand. And you can see these guys and get photos of them. Like I said, all shapes and sizes. And then there's a lot of other things that primarily come out at night. Bobbit worms, stargazers. Bottom there is a basket star. They only open up at night. And they're very sensitive to light. So we're going to talk a little bit about things that you can do to improve your night diving. Obviously, good buoyancy skills are very important. You really don't want to be flailing your arms around to help with your buoyancy or control, because you may not see that coral right next to you because your light's not shining in that direction. You'll hit it, damaging the reef and possibly yourself. And also familiarity with your camera and your dive gear is very, very important, because you're not able to look at your camera housing and see the labels on it, for example. So, and also very important is the trim matters. Proper trim is when you're a diver in a horizontal position, okay? This allows more efficient swimming, and also enables your face and camera to be a lot closer to the reef without kicking it. So, a lot of divers are like this guy here with the yellow fins. Many people aren't in this sort of position. You're swimming along, your feet are well below your head. This is a big problem. You don't want to be this guy. And you really don't want to be this guy either. But you want to shoot for something like this. So now when you're horizontal and your fins are up a bit, you can get very close to the reef and get that camera down into the reef and get those really close shots that you're striving for, to cut out that water between you and your camera lens. And again, just a little review here. The one on the left is good. The one on the right, not so good. Okay. So one way to improve your trim is to add some weight up high. I wear weight, little weight pockets on the band around my tank. So it's very high up on my shoulders, and that helps push my head down, basically. Very beneficial when you're trying to take photos or shoot video. Dive buddies, you have to say this: don't aim the light in the diver's eyes. It's pretty obvious, but I see it happen all the time. When you want to signal your buddy, wiggle your light in front of their light where they're looking. Keep your buddy close. It's really difficult to ID your buddy at a distance in the dark. This is especially troublesome if you're like on Paradise Reef and Cozumel, and there's like 4 different dive boats diving in the same spot, and you're taking a picture of something, and then you look up and you're not sure if your dive group is the one to the right or the one to the left, because they all look the same underwater in the dark. All you see is those lights shining around. So stay a little closer than normal. Also, the little tank light or a blinker will help ID your buddy. And easy to ID colorful dive gear helps out a lot as well. So my friend has these black fins with the yellow stripe on the tip, and you can see those suckers a long way in the dark if you shine your light in his direction. That was very helpful to save me from getting lost and going with another group. So here's some different examples of blinkers or tank lights. I personally use that one on the far left. It's not necessarily where I buy them. This is where I took the pictures from on the internet. The one on the far right is totally sealed up, and it's water contact. It just comes on by itself. There's no battery to change. And I've had those suckers last for years. But pick one that you like and go with it to help your buddy find you in the dark. So safety, on night dives, I do more extensive preps when it's a very remote or more risky dive out in open water, things like that. If I'm doing a walk-in dive on a beach in Bonaire, I don't worry as much about it as I'm doing a boat dive or a blackwater dive. But I definitely am always going to have at least minimum of 2 lights. And I never carry all my lights on my camera, which many divers do. Because if you ever have a serious emergency, your buddy has a medical emergency, you have a medical emergency, one of your hose ruptures and you have issues and you have to let go of your camera, you don't want to be bobbing on the surface of the ocean without any light at all. Okay, so I always have a light connected to my BC and or to my wrist, in addition to the lights on my camera itself. So I think that's a very important thing to consider. And if your strobe or your flashlight has a SOS mode, you should know how to turn it on before you actually have an emergency. Couple other tips: pre-charge, like your glow-in-the-dark things like gauges, for example. Before you do that back roll into the water, shine your flashlight on your gauges and light those things up, let them glow in the dark well. And then also, some other tip here is that, during the day, you may see a small wreck or a little swim through in the reef, and you think it's easy to go in and out in a little bit. But the problem is on a night dive, when you're in there, let's say your light went out, it's impossible to see the way out because there's no blue light shining through the hole, right? The opening. And so it's just something to keep in mind that, it's a little added risk if you try to go into some wreck or a swim through or something on a night dive. And then shore diving, you know, what I do when I do a shore dive, I look from the surface where the lights are. And then even when I go in the water, I swim out a bit, then I turn around and look where the bright lights are coming from and try to orient myself. So when it's time to go in from the dive, I don't have to surface to see where I am. I can just follow the lights back to my exit point. And then also look out for the urchins, the big black diadema sea urchins. You know, they come out at night. They'll start popping out of cracks everywhere and they'll be all over the place. So you really got to be real careful getting in and out of the water if you're doing a beach dive at night. I've been stuck by sea urchins, I think maybe twice, both times on night beach dives. And one time we walked into the water and we stopped at about waist deep, chest deep, putting our fins on. And our dive guide had his fins on first and put his face in the water. He goes, "Oh, be careful, we're in the urchins." And I said, "Ouch, no, the urchins are in me," because I got poked before I knew they were there. So just be careful. Also on night dives, you know, you really want to be kind to the animals. Try not to wake the sleeping fish. You know, don't aim your lights right into the subjects, the sleeping fishes or whatever eyes. And my big pet peeve is don't bother the sleeping turtles. So many people will see a turtle sleeping on the reef and they'll go up there shining a light right in its face and taking pictures of it and just, you know, harassing it, making it have to wake up and leave. So try to just be gentle when you see those things underwater. So talk a little bit about equipment for night dives. You know, I encourage you to use photo gear you're already familiar with. You know, night dives are not the best time to break out a new diopter or a snoot or anything else. You want to go with those experimental dives during the daytime. It's a lot easier that way. And for lights, I prefer a small narrow beam handheld light for searching. And I just usually keep it connected to my wrist via a lanyard so I can drop it if I need to take photos or whatever. The narrow beam is especially preferred in low visibility because when you have a real wide beam flashlight and lower visibility, it ends up being like turning your high beams on in the fog when you're driving. It just bounces off all that particulate in the water and you really can't see very well. So that narrow beam helps you see a little more distance. I also don't like a wide beam for searchlight because you're lighting up the whole reef, not necessarily where you're looking. And so you're already scaring stuff off way to the left or way to the right of you. And they'll maybe hide because they're already being illuminated before you even see them. So that narrow beam helps you focus where you're looking. It only illuminate and light up where you're looking. I really like red lights, a red flashlight for things like cephalopods, live shells, and crustaceans. They seem to not really be bothered by the red light, but the white light will drive them to hide. And so I think red light really does help a lot on those sort of creatures. And then of course, if you want a tank light to help you and your buddy ID each other underwater. So somebody asked me one time, why don't I dive the whole time with my red light? And because a couple of reasons. You can't really determine the background color. So if you have a fish in front of a sponge, you can't really tell the colors to help work on that negative space in your photos with the red light. And also to me, with my eyes, it seems more difficult to find subjects in the red monochrome light than it is with the white light because everything kind of looks the same. It blends in a little much. So approaching subjects, when you locate a subject, avoid shining light directly at them, shine it off to the side of them. If it's a cephalopod or a shell or a crustacean, I'll usually flip to a red light at that point, changing my setting on my light to red. And then also I use the lowest power settings for focus light that will still allow me to focus. I see the next one here. I see it happen a lot. People will see a cool subject on a night dive. They'll swim up to it, have that light shining right on it really brightly. And then they'll make all the adjustments to their camera. And because that light is shining on the subject, it's already hidden. It's trying to avoid that light. If they're night creatures, they don't really like all that bright light shining on them. So what you do is see where the subject is, make note of it, aim your light away from the subject, make any adjustments to your camera or strobe. And then finally, just illuminate that subject with your light when you're really ready to take the shot. Otherwise, you're going to scare them away. So worms. How many people have had problems with worms on night dives? Yeah, the little squiggly guys. So first thing, while you're moving from one, if you have a lot of problems with worms following your light, turn off your light and swim, across the reef a little bit to another position. and they'll kind of stay behind. They won't be right on you, following you. Use low power settings for your lights. And also a tip is to mount your focus light on a longer arm up above the housing. So all the worms will go to that light, but they won't be down there in front of your lens. Okay. And then finally, the biggest tip is swim next to a diver that you don't like, turn off your light and then swim away. And then they'll have all the worms, right? So I usually don't do that to someone I don't like, but I will do that to a non-photographer or to the dive guide. I've done that because they don't, doesn't bother them. Another tip when dealing with the worms, I should have put in here, I have it later in something else, but is wear a hood, especially when I see ladies with really big hair and they're diving and all those worms are all stuck in their hair after a dive. That's gross. Okay. Wear a hood, keep them out of your hair. I've had them even with hoods on them, I had them go in my ears on a couple of occasions and they're squirming around. It's not real pleasant. But yeah, wear a hood will help with keep those worms away from you. Nighttime is really macro time. It's a great time to concentrate on the smaller stuff. One problem with night diving, if you're trying to shoot wider lens settings or a wide angle, the backscatter will really show up in that black water. Okay, so by trying to avoid a lot of open water background, if you're on the reef, with your compositions, that will help a lot with minimizing backscatter. Let's see. So, on a night dive, all your lights coming from your strobes. It should be. So you want to shoot at a faster shutter speed, like 1/160th of a second or 1/200th of a second. This will also minimize the impact of your focus light. This is especially important if you're using the red light, because otherwise you'll get that red glow in your images. I had a friend several years back, he went on a dive trip and he was all upset because this flashlight was showing up in all of his photos and it was a small beam kind of light. And lo and behold, he was shooting at like 1/90th of a second or something shutter speed. And so it was slow enough that the flashlight was really showing up really strongly on his subjects. Higher shutter speed will help make that not happen. And typically on night dives, you really don't have much of a reason to change your ISO or shutter speed. So it makes things a little easier that you don't have to fiddle with that too much. Because it's dark down there, the camera back display, when you're reviewing photos, everything's gonna look really bright, okay? But a lot of times your image will be underexposed quite a bit, but it still looks bright because relative to the black water around it, it's bright. So it's real important on night dives to use your histogram or turn on the blinkies on the back of your camera so you can see the proper exposure. And before you go on the night dive, it's important to learn the controls of your housing and strobes by feel, because like I said, you may not be able to see the labels while you're diving. So it's important to know this is my ISO button and this is my exposure compensation button or whatever. Just try to get those things memorized before you go on a night dive. And if you're a little uncomfortable about night diving, I suggest diving a site at night that you're familiar with from day dives. It'll help you feel a lot more comfortable. Try a dusk dive. You get in, it's still somewhat light. And by the time you finish the dive, it is completely dark. That'll help you adjust a little more to that darkness and be a little more comfortable. And then also maybe if you're really uncomfortable, do your first couple night dives without your camera, because it's just a little bit more task loading that you may not be ready for yet. So if you're very, very comfortable doing night diving, maybe you're ready for blackwater diving. And I know we've had some programs on blackwater diving recently, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But blackwater basically is a night dive in the open ocean, like 600 feet of water or deeper. And it's diving around a lighted line tied to a floating buoy. So this is my awesome graphic I made. So you can see the boat up there, the green boat, and the buoy with the lights. All those orange things are lights. And then it goes down about 75 feet, it's weighted on the bottom. You just kind of swim circles around that looking for weird stuff. So why do you do it? To see and photograph things that you've never seen before. And like what? Well, like pelagic creatures that live their entire life drifting. For example, some species of fish or cephalopods, crustaceans, jellyfish. Also, there's larval stage creatures that have yet to settle on the bottom. And you just may never know what else might show up on a blackwater dive. This is like a farima, I think it's called. Hope I'm saying that right. And they're kind of related to amphipods. So they're very creepy. And yes, it looks like something from an alien movie. Blanket octopus, coolest octopus I've ever seen probably. This is a larval anemone with the amphipod riding on it. And it was zooming around like a little motorboat because the amphipod was propelling it through the water. And maybe the size of a grape or something, large blueberry, quite small, the whole thing. Larval flounder, it's really clear, you can see through it. Juvenile wonderpuss, it's hasn't settled on the bottom yet, and it's totally clear, really awesome looking. A lot of places now are off on blackwater dives. It started years ago in Kona, Hawaii, probably around the late 90s. But now you can go South Florida, Cozumel, Grand Cayman, a lot of places in the Philippines and some places in Indonesia. So just, if you're interested in doing it, look it up, figure out a good place to go. Some challenges of blackwater diving is grown-up diving. No one's babysitting you. No one's saying how much air do you have or keeping an eye on you. There's no reference to anything, so when you see a subject and you go to raise your camera up to frame it, you put the viewfinder to your eye and now you've lost the subject because everything's all the same. It's just all black. There's no background elements to provide reference to the location of the subject or anything else. Everything's moving. You're moving, all the subject's moving, the water's moving. So you see an exciting subject and you swim up to it a little too quickly, which is very slowly actually. The pressure wave that you're pushing in front of you will move the subject, or the subject will sense that and be scared off by it and swim away. So you have to move very slowly, approach the subject very, very slowly. Absolutely no arm flapping going on here, because if you flap your arm, that subject's going to get washed away. And many of the subjects on blackwater dives are very, very small. So for lighting gear and stuff, you want to, again, a narrow beam searchlight to cut through that fog while you're looking for a subject. Nice focus lights, redundancy. You definitely want a lanyard for your camera and lights, because if you drop it, it's gone. I would suggest a hood and gloves because there's a lot of jellies in the water. And also keep anything out of your hair if you have a lot of hair. And then probably a jacket for the boat ride, because it may be cool out there at night. So all this is just, like I said, to encourage you to give up that drink at the sunset time at the bar and go ahead and go out there and get in the water and go night diving. And Martin, I'll ask if there's any questions while Martin tries to pull up the Suno website. Oh, actually, no, the other slideshow, sorry. Yeah, the one labeled using Suno. So anybody have any questions?
Have your camera on. I've got the good fortune of being able to be on the boat with Linda. So I see you here.
Awesome. I saw Linda on there. Hi, Linda. Awesome.
Guide show me what settings, but what settings do you normally do?
For just night dives in general on the reef?
No,
For blackwater, I'm going to be shooting like 1/200 of a second, and I'm going to be shooting like f/16 or something, fairly small aperture to get better depth of field, and then I crank up my strobes quite a bit, and maybe ISO 200 or something like that. And the f-stop I'm going to vary with the subject, the distance, and the reflectivity of the subject. I change that. But if Linda told you what the settings to use, don't listen to me. Listen to Linda. And yes, sir.
So the last presentation we had on night diving, there was a bit of discussion on the lens.
Okay.
Now we'd like to ask, I'm still not sure, and I asked
Blackwater or night dives in general?
Black
60 millimeter.
60. Okay.
That's my opinion.
Okay, well, versus say a macro lens, that's pretty wide angle.
Well, it's a macro 60 millimeter. It's 1:1. That's at the Nikon. I guess the Canon's at the 50 millimeter, right? They do a 60 also. Okay. And the reason you don't want to do like the 100 or 105, in my opinion, is because when you try to find that subject in that 105 millimeter lens, your area you're looking through is so small, you'll half the time never be able to find that subject. Because like I said, it's just black. Everything's black. There's no, oh, it's right next to that sponge and a little bit to the left. There's none of that. When you're trying to find a small subject in the black water and you have like a 105 millimeter, 100 millimeter lens, it's hard to find those subjects. Linda, do you have anything to add? 60 millimeter for you?
Oh, definitely 60 millimeter. The other issue with the 100, 105 is that there's a greater distance between the lens and the subject, and you get more particulate in there. and the lens will try to focus on that particulate rather than the subject. So you want to be as close to your subject as possible. But on the other hand, you'd think, okay, I'll use a diopter. Diopters make it harder because when you're looking through a diopter, there's very, very little depth of field. And like David said, your subject's always moving. They're not going to sit like on the bottom waiting for you to come into them. So with the diopter on and a shallow depth of field, it's very hard to track your subject. So bottom line, almost everybody uses a 60 millimeter lens. Get your subject in focus, and you're going to end out, if it's a very small subject, you're going to end up cropping it. There's no way around it.
Thank you very much.
More
Yeah,
than you wanted to know.
No, that was perfect. That was great. And yeah, I use 60 for most of that stuff because you can get so much closer. Like when people are muck diving, they're using a 105, you're at a disadvantage. Yes, you can get smaller stuff, but then you're shooting through a lot more water and things are not as crisp and sharp and you have more backscatter. So the 60 allows you to get closer. Other questions? Anybody on Zoom? If you have a question, speak up, because we can't see you at the moment. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. And let's see. So yes, we're going to transition to now making music with AI, okay? My first foray into this was the recap video we did for the last year's Underwater Film Festival. And I made a kind of hip-hoppy rap sounding song about the Houston Underwater Film Festival, and it was kind of fun to do. And so I decided to try a little more of this, and decided to teach y'all about how to do this. And so first, this is about a 4-minute little slideshow, but it's not really a slideshow. It's just more samples of songs that I've created. And I put just a slide up for each song that shows the keywords I use or the descriptors I use on the AI program to create this song. And it's just super easy stuff. And after this little slideshow or music sample show, I'm going to actually go on the website and show you how to do this. So go ahead and hit play, Martin.
Night dives deep in ocean blue. Octopus we swim on through. Eels dance in the current sway. Cuttlefish light our way. Stargazers lurking in the sand. Out on a black Texas night with the stars shining bright. Got my tank and fins, water's calling me in. Not a soul inside, just the moon as my light. I dive beneath where the world's tucked in tight. A ghost of springs in the morning light. San Juan mountains reaching high. A ghost of peak whispers my name. San Juan River running wild untamed. Hot springs heal the worried soul. Steaming warmth make the broken whole. The wolf Creek calling with powder wine, skiing dreams till the edge of night. It's Pagosa, I'm dreaming free. Set sail from Matador, Texas, on the Gooder Vibes catamaran. The Gulf of Mexico calls our names. Captain Joey charts the plane. First mate Max preps attack. Underneath the morning sky, we're chasing wahoo and mahi-mahi, with a swordfish glint in our eyes. Gooder vibes on the open sea, salt and sunshine setting us free.
Okay, so that's just some examples of what kind of stuff you can create. And Mark, can we pull up that website? And it's basically limitless. I mean, you can create any kind of song you want, any genre, any words you want to put in there. And it's very fun. You know, I originally was using the free version on the website. It will let you do like, I think 5 or 10 songs a day. But I found I was staying up late every night, even if, you know, I had a busy day, I would try to get my 5 free songs in before bedtime. And so I decided, just in the name of getting more sleep, it was worth paying for the subscription. So anyways, this is the Suno website here. How about now, guys? You see it, Zoomers? Okay, perfect. So I'll just take you back to where we started here. So on the homepage is of Suno. It's very busy looking. Does ignore all that junk for now. And when you actually want to make a song, you just hit create, okay? But if you don't know what kind of genre you want to create a song with, you can look here and just select from all these different things, or make up your own genres. It doesn't matter. But if you know, you can click on it and then it will play songs for you. Literally harpsichord acid jazz. That sounds okay. Literally anything you can think of. New wave acid trance. Okay. Acoustic grime. Okay, so the point is, anything you possibly want, you can make. All right. So we're gonna go to create here, and we're gonna make a song tonight. Joyce and Frank, what's your favorite kind of music? Well, we're gonna make it. What do you? Country. Country? Okay. What kind of country? Acoustic?
No, let's do that.
See, I can't see on time. Close enough.
Probably be kind of mixed.
All right. Let's see what we get. Acoustic country song about Frank and Joyce who live in Conroe, Texas. They like photography, traveling, and pasta. And let's just see what we get. Okay, so if you want an instrumental song, you would click this little button right here, and then it would just make an instrumental song via whatever description you give. Okay. They're different lengths. You know, usually are 1.5 to 3 minutes, something like that, and then you can also add on to them. Extend it, they say. Let's see. Well, let's see what we come up with.
Frank and Joyce down in Conroe, Texas, snapping pics on those open roads. Camera clicks, memories unfold, sunset skyline stories told. They got the wanderlust in their veins, hitting highways, riding trains, from the mountains to the coast, capturing moments they cherish the most.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, it's so easy. It's so fun and easy. That's what I'm saying. It's addicting. I mean, when you start playing with it, you yeah, and you see here on the right are the lyrics. So here we'll finish it.
Frank and Joyce, life's a grand tour, photographs leafing through their lore. Frames of love, joy, and pasta nights, and Conroe that shines so bright. Spaghetti nights under starry skies, pasta twirls and twinkling eyes. A plate of dreams, a fork full of love, blessed by heavens from above. Road trips, clicks, and a 35-minute buy, finding beauty in the simple shimmer. From Austin streets to Big Bend's peaks, that's where their love always seeks. Frank and Joyce, life's a grand tour, photographs leafing through their lore. Frames of love.
Okay, so there's see, I always mix 2 songs. Yeah, okay, here we go. Here's the other one. It always gets you 2 versions, usually the same words.
Frank and Joyce down in Conroe, Texas, snapping pics on those open roads. Camera clicks, memories unfold, sunset skyline stories told. You got the wanderlust in their veins.
Okay, so as you can see, it's pretty easy, right? Everyone agree? All right, anybody have any questions? So, yeah, I mean, I made a song for my brother and his wife about their grandson, and I sent it to him. He goes, "Thanks a lot for making us cry." And this stuff literally takes like less than 5 minutes to do, okay? And we have a friend that had a big family reunion, and he saw my songs I had made. So he goes, "I'm gonna make one for my family reunion." He said, everybody was crying. You know, it's just, you can do whatever you want. It's super fun, super easy. You know, the other benefit of paying subscription is that you get copyright if you do that, if you subscribe. If you don't, you don't get copyright. So I'm not sure if they're gonna like police YouTube if you use these or what. But you know, free, let's see, it says here, how do I don't know how to move this over to the left. No. It's right here, suno.com, suno.com.
So if you like this, you download it? Is that what you?
No, when you get a subscription for it, it's still on the website, but it stores all your songs for you and everything. And you get the copyright to those songs that you create when you pay the subscription.
But if you don't get a subscription,
You can download the songs.
you can
everything.
download the song.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so-
And they'll still store them in your account up to some limited number.
Okay.
But yeah, any, like I said, any genre, you know, the electronics, the instrumental stuff, whatever you want. It's
So what
great
are-
for slideshows.
What are the credits?
Where do you see
There's
that?
2,500
Okay.
credits.
Yeah, I'm trying to, how do I go over this window? Because this window is shifted to the left. I need to go over there.
It's gonna-
Yeah, I
what
don't
does
know
it
why.
say?
Oh, shoot. You get a certain number of credits per day. So I think it's 50 credits for the free version, which it's $5 credits a song, I think. So you get 10 songs a day for free. Okay. And then if you pay, you get 2,500 credits, which
Is
is
that 10 that you want to keep or 10 attempts?
10 creations,
Okay, so if you don't
current
like it, you create it.
generations. If they all suck, then you don't get any keepers.
Okay, so it's just 10 attempts.
10 generations, yeah. You get to generate 10 songs for free. You can download them or they save in your account also. And then if you pay the $10 a month or whatever, $100 a year, you get 2,500 credits, which is basically 500 songs a month that you can create. Okay. And like I said, it's a lot of fun. If you went on a trip and you want to make a slideshow or a video, go on and give it a try. Make a soundtrack, create your own. You know, you don't have to find the perfect song. You can make it. Okay.
And if you get one, can you adjust it in any way? Or
You can do some
just
stuff. You can say extend to increase the length of it. Because a lot of times it only generate like a minute and a half song, but you want 3 minutes and you tell it to extend several times.
So from what you typed in, if you want a different song, you would just make another attempt and type in maybe different words.
If I type in the exact same thing again and hit enter again, it will make different songs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Or you can change the
So you can
words,
just keep
or you can
trying
hear
again.
one and you'll get ideas of how you would make it different, and you can tell it, you know, different. There's different ways, and also I think they have newer features now that you actually take that song and build on it and change it. You can say if you want a male voice or a female voice. You know, you can do a lot of different things.
Can you
So-
make it sound like a particular artist?
To some extent, yes, but you can't actually write the person's name.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
right.
You can't say make a song like you can't say make a song like Willie Nelson. Because no,
How are they selected?
they're not artists. It's all computer generated. All those vocals are computer generated, which is crazy. That is a computer. That is a computer generated song. Yeah, it's crazy. So do it. I encourage everybody to try it. Any other questions? You Zoomers, anybody got any questions?
No
Okay, well-
questions, but that's pretty cool.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So anyways, I hope to see a lot of these songs being used in slideshows in the future. I guess that's all I got. So we'll turn it over for photo contest. Thanks, everybody.
Can we turn the lights on?
Sitting here marveling. Lost my mic.
How many of you guys on Zoom are going to La Tapatia with us?
Sorry. That's one thing you can't zoom into is the hot sauce and chips. Huh? Yeah, well, this is great. And again, next week, some of you Zoomers, give it up and come on in and come to the Christmas party. We have a raffle and everybody's a winner.
We'll be there,
All
Craig.
right, excellent, excellent. We look forward to seeing you. And
We'll be there too.
all right, all right. Well, thanks to everybody. And can I get a show of hands, everybody here? Who's going to La Tapatia? Russell always. La Tapatia. It's Mexican food. Not far. Tell you how to get there. Okay. Thanks, guys. Until we meet again.